Hi, this is just going to be a video to talk about the post earnings move ShowMe technique for TradeStation. It works in RadarScreen, chart analysis, and in the scanner. And basically, this is an indicator that allows you to see what a stock does in the days following an earnings announcement. And if you have any questions, you can send me an email. Here's the email and our website. You can take a look at this website. This and a lot of other TradeStation indicators are there. Let's see. Let's talk about the legal information for a minute. I would urge you to pause this and read through this completely. Basically, we're saying everything we do is for educational purposes only. We're not giving any type of financial advice. We're not making any recommendation to buy or sell anything. And all trading or investing decisions are solely your responsibility, and you should get the help and advice and training from the appropriate professionals before you do anything with respect to financial instruments. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started here. Got just a workspace pulled up, have a radar screen window and a chart analysis window. You'll notice it's on the daily setting. This indicator works for a daily time frame. So let's go ahead and we'll insert the indicator. So let's see, we'll do that. And post earnings move is what we want. I'll put it here at the bottom. And let's first talk about the general tab. Basically, the default is 1,300 days. That's a little over 5 years worth of daily data. So if you want to look at more than that, you'll need to adjust this value here. And the inputs, these are the defaults, and basically this is for saying that for the okay, there's going to be 5 groups of columns of data when we go ahead and insert the indicator, and the 4 groups deal with the reports that come out each quarter. So the report that comes out in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. And this is saying this is the number of those reports we want to look at. So we were saying only look at most 5, and there has to be at least 1 before we'll consider any data for those particular columns. And this is saying we want to start looking at the data 1 day after the earnings announcement until 10 days after. So basically the 10 days following an earnings announcement is what the default is. And then the move threshold is set for 75%. Basically that means, assume we're able to look at 5 earnings reports per quarter. This is saying at least 75% of those reports must go in the direction that we're looking for. And since the show up moves indicator is set to true, that means we're looking for an up move or a positive move in the stock. So if of those 5, if 75% are up, which for 5 reports means at least 4 of those 5 have to have moved up after earnings in order to be highlighted. And then of those 4, we're going to average the 4 up moves, and if the average of those 4 moves is at least 5%, then that's going to be highlighted as well. These basically just are values that can be used to highlight certain things that meet your criteria. And then these 2 inputs here apply to the column for the most recent earnings reports. This basically means that the last consecutive number of reports. So first, or like second quarter, first quarter, fourth quarter, third quarter, and consecutively back in time. So this is saying we'll look at most 10, and we need at least 3 before we'll populate those columns. So let's go ahead and say OK. Say OK, and so things start coming up, and obviously the columns get populated. And just to let you know, this column here, the MET field, basically is going to be the key column that's actually used in the scanner, and that's really where it's used the most. And you can see it's set to true if we have a situation in which our 75% threshold and our 5% threshold are exceeded. So this just shows you these 10 stocks here, 10, 11 stocks, that this is the only one that would have met both of those thresholds and would have showed up in the scanner if you were scanning for for something that met those thresholds. So let's see. Let's explain the inputs here. So basically, this is the column saying the most recent reports, kind of what was the status. So in several of them here, 8 out of 10 prior reports moved up. And then here's the average of those 8 that moved up. So we'll just click on Apple to kind of, everybody likes Apple here, so we'll click on Apple. And 8 of the last 10 times after earnings, Apple moved up, and of those 8 times it moved up, the average move was 5.69%, and the minimum of the move of those 8 up moves was, barely positive, just 0.08%. So that's for the most recent consecutive earnings reports, and then we have all the ones that came out in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Sometimes it seems like historically there's certain quarters do better than others. For example, what we got, like Ulta, sometimes in the second quarter it seems like it has a pretty good chance of moving up, and let's see what else. And so does IBM, but the move is only about 3%. So whatever criteria you want to look for, whatever is kind of interesting to you, you can search for. And let's go ahead and we'll insert the indicator in the chart analysis, and it's a ShowMe. So post earnings move, say OK. Same defaults. Basically, the only inputs that really apply here are these two right here, the days after start and stop, because this is just going to show you graphically the days we looked at. So you can see, like for this report that came out in the first quarter, the little plus sign shows you the day the earnings announcement came out, and the B shows you the day we're going to begin our analysis for, and the E is the ending day, and then the number above it shows you the result, the opening on this day to the close on this day. There was a 7.36% gain. So you can kind of just see graphically the period that we're looking at, and you can just scroll back. In the fourth quarter it was about a 5-6% move. It's kind of a negative 2% move in the third quarter. About a 4% move in the prior second quarter. So you can just see, graphically, what days we're looking at. And also in the chart analysis, you can click on the commentary, and this will just give you kind of a quick summary of the history of each quarter as well. So you can see, the last 10 reports. Here they are, and then here's the most recent 5 reports for each that came out in each quarter. So that's pretty much the chart analysis and the RadarScreen windows and how the indicator works. Okay, just had to pause the video there real quick to come up to a scan window so you can kind of see the indicator in the scanner. First thing, just what stocks you want to look at. This scan is just set to look at all stocks. Criteria. Again, you can set this to anything you want. I just said let's look at things that have at least 1 million shares a day and closing price over $20. And then we're going to look at the most recent MET column, and we want that to be true. That's the criteria that's going to be used to find stocks. So if that's just true, over $20 or over, and at least 1 million shares, then the stock's going to be selected from our scan. And then we're going to also display this will be the statistics on how many reports went in the direction we were looking for, the average of those moves, and then the minimum move of those that went in our direction. And you can see this is just all the defaults that we have. Took the defaults just as they were, but again, you can set this to anything you want. Maybe you want to look at just 5 days after earnings, so you would set this 10 to a 5, or maybe you want to start looking 5 days after earnings, maybe 5 through 15, whatever period you want to look at, you can do that. And again, you can change these thresholds to be whatever you want. And again, this is the default is 5 years. If you're going to look for, I don't know, if you wanted to go 10 years back, maybe quarterly, then you're going to need to change this to account for having 10 years of daily data. So you have 4 instances of the indicator selected here, and just all these inputs need to be the same. So whatever you select, you're going to display data that matches what the selection was made, or what the selection was based on. But again, these are all just the defaults. So just to click through here and show you, so you could pause the video if you want to look at those settings. So I've already run it because this takes a couple minutes to run, so we'll just say OK here, and here's the results. You can see this was run. This has been filmed on the 23rd of April 2015, and this was run like 3 days ago. So you can see Apple, the most recent 10 reports, 8 out of the 10 times it was up. We already saw that. And then these are just all the ones that met our criteria. I don't know, Tesla. I don't know, obviously kind of a stock maybe people like to trade. So Bed Bath and Beyond, whatever, and you can sort over here, like maybe you want to see which one had the highest average move. So this one 3 out of 4 times it moved up. The average was 24% roughly, and the minimum was 19%. So this one, when it moves up, it seems to move in a pretty good clip. So maybe that's something that you might want to take notice of. Or you could come over here, and we could sort by the biggest minimum move. So that if we move up, have a good chance of at least moving a certain amount. So at least 4% here, about 4%, 3%. Whatever criteria you're looking for, whatever interests you, you can find it with the scanner. So I guess that's basically it. Kind of a quick tour of how the indicator works in the different windows in TradeStation. Again, if you have any questions or comments, our email address was at the start of this video, so you can kind of scroll back there and find that. So hope this is useful for you, and hope it helps with your trading and investing. Thanks.